negative experience in your professional career that actually turned into a positive?
So I'm going to answer this from an organizational standpoint, not a personal one, because it's probably a little more interesting. So a lot of people, we go around, we do tabling events, and we go out and stuff to the community, and people talk about this. They're like, oh, I know about this. I've heard about the great big trash island. And you're like, oh, it's not an island. And so that's the thing. People have heard about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and they heard that there's this really big island floating in the middle of the sea, because people in the news have called it an island. So they have this picture where you can, if you're in a plane, you can fly over it and see it. You can physically get out and walk on it.
Wow.
So that's really, really incorrect. It looks a lot more like this, which is plastic soup. This is very concentrated because it's a scientific sample. But essentially, there's like plankton and some like fish in there, lantern fish, and copepods, and also plastic. And essentially, it's just, plastic like a lawn chair. Leaves land or whatever. Eventually, by the time it gets out to sea, very far out to sea, it's no longer in the shape of a lawn chair because of, the sun has broken it down, the waves have beaten it up. And so it's more likely in very small pieces, very small chunks. There's bigger chunks and littler chunks and stuff like that. And there's a lot of pieces that you can't even see without the help of a microscope. And so it's soup. And so, on one hand, it's very frustrating because like, oh, it's that dumb myth again. But on the other hand, we think that's actually really great because a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, plastic soup, that's not compelling, but they think, wait, you're telling me there's an island twice the size of Texas floating around our oceans, and now you're telling me there's 5 of them, and that's what makes them want to change what they're doing. That's what makes them want to, sign petitions and talk out in city council and stuff like that. They may not completely understand what the realistic problem is, which is it's not a giant island of trash. It is just soup. But I think having that mental picture, though, that's what spurs them towards action because they're like, that's a crazy problem, and they can see that problem in their mind. It's difficult to see tiny plastic particles floating in the water. It barely makes any sense to me, honestly. Like, I haven't been out there yet, but I've seen so many videos and documentaries and I'm like, that looks terrible. But would I want to change my whole life, dedicating my life to not using plastic because of like little particles floating around that fish are eating? I mean, I don't even like to eat fish. Like, does this really affect me, birds, But again, it's that plastic island that everyone sort of sees and wants to take down. And so in some weird way, this very incorrect myth of what the problem is has entirely helped our mission and made people want to solve the problem, which is kind of cool.